Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. And today, I wanted to talk about my top 10 favorite dive watches. Just to clarify, this is just my personal opinion, and this list is not made in any particular order. But it's probably the most popular category of watch, so I wanted to give you guys my top 10 picks in this category. So let's get started. Oh wait, and before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing the Eterna Contiki World Timer GMT. One of the watches that I kind of forgot about for a long time and is now back on my wrist. But a quick little hint, this doesn't make my top 10 dive watches, even though, theoretically it's a dive watch. It's lovely, but it just doesn't make the cut. So let's get started. So number one, let's get an obvious one out of the way, and that is the Rolex Submariner. Probably the most iconic watch ever made. The Sub was created in 1953, and it's a piece that transcends the dive watch category. Extremely versatile. In fact, I just made a video a couple days ago about my top 5 things that I love about the Sub. I'll link it right up here. But, it's probably the most popular luxury watch in the world. So, just on that merit, it has to make the list, and I put it at number 1 just so we can get it out of the way quickly, because everybody definitely saw this one coming, and that is the Rolex Submariner. Number 2 is the IWC Aquatimer 2000. 2000 meter water resistant, and a larger watch at 44 millimeters. Now this model that I'm talking about is the one that was just discontinued about a year and a half ago, and it's my favorite one. I love the bezel that's covered in sapphire crystal, so it's scratch resistant, and the bezel markers are also luminous. A very, very clean dial, very easy to read, and my personal favorite feature, it has quick release straps, so you don't need a strap tool. There's a little button on the bottom, and you can switch from bracelet to rubber, very, very quickly. It uses a robust ETA 2892 movement, which is not usually used in dive watches. They usually either go 2824 or, in-house a lot of the time, but very, very reliable and very, very rugged. And that is the IWC Aquatimer. Up next is another watch, which I'm sure you guys could see coming, and this was a tough watch to pick, but I'm going with the Omega Seamaster 300. Now, this was tough to pick because there's so many great Omegas. There's the Seamaster 300, which is retro-inspired. There's the Planet Ocean. There's, of course, the Prof. But I'm going with the classic James Bond blue, Seamaster 300. Many people see this, and even I see this, as an alternative to the Submariner. Just as iconic, well, not quite just, but almost as iconic, and very versatile as well. These use Omega's coaxial escapement, which reduces friction, and supposedly, and I say supposedly because it hasn't been out that long, should reduce service intervals. Now, what can we say? 42 millimeters, very easy to wear, fantastic bracelet, and very, very recognizable. So this one definitely makes the list, and I don't think it surprises any of you guys either. I actually hope to own one of these one day, and I'm working on a little something, so hopefully sooner rather than later. And that is the Omega Seamaster 300. Up next is a brand that I own quite a bit of, and many people might not see this as a dive watch, even though it was invented as one, and that is Panerai. Particularly the Panerai Luminar Marina. Now, this watch misses a lot of the features that modern dive watches have, and that is a rotating bezel, for example, and a screw-down crown. But it has other features which, at the time when this was invented, dive watches really needed, such as a crown guard, which protects the crown and doesn't need a screw-down crown anymore, and a very, very clean dial, so very easily read underwater with the super bright lume. Now, Panerai began to make dive watches in 1900 for the Italian Navy, and they were originally built by Rolex and designed by Panerai. Now, this may not fit the stereotype of a dive watch, but it absolutely is, as it was worn by the Italian frogmen in World War I and World War II. I own 3 of these pieces in my collection, and I absolutely adore them. So Panerai, especially the 111, has to make it on this list. Next, we go with probably the watch that invented the dive watch category, and that is the Blancpain 50 Fathoms. Now, this watch was created in 1953 and was water resistant to, can you guess it? 50 fathoms, which is just about 100 meters. And this watch also invented the rotating bezel. You're welcome, Rolex. I also love the bezel that is covered in sapphire crystal, just like the IWC, and the bezel numerals are also luminous. This watch keeps its vintage inspiration. I love the high polish case, which is very much not common in the dive watch world, and I love the sailcloth strap. This is the father of all dive watches, and not particularly popular nowadays simply because it's rather expensive at above $10,000. And the movement, in my opinion, is a little fragile to be a dive watch movement. However, the 50 Fathoms is a fantastic looking watch, and many people would love to have it in their collection. It had to make this list. Now we're coming up to one that's a little bit controversial and a little newer, and that is the Tudor Black Bay. Now, a lot of people would rather put the Pelagos on this list, and the Pelagos is indeed a better dive watch with its fancy clasp and its titanium build, but this is my list, and I pick the Black Bay simply because I like it more. I love the red bezel version. I love the rose in the dial of the Etta version. I think it's a fantastic looking dive watch. It's housing the 2824 with the rose version, or an in-house caliber for the new shield dial. However, you know, Etta or in-house, they're both great and very durable. This is significantly less expensive than most watches on my list, and it's got that fantastic Rolex build quality, because of course, Tudor is owned and built by Rolex. Not to mention, the distress strap that you can get it on looks freaking awesome. So this watch definitely makes my list, and I'm really sorry, Pelagos lovers. It was a really tough choice, and I know the Pelagos is technically a better dive watch, but the Black Bay is what I pick. Next up is a dive watch that I don't think enough people give enough love to, and that is the Breitling Super Ocean. The Super Ocean is a little bit bigger, comes in 42 and 44 millimeters, and it's 2,000 meter water resistant, housing a very durable Etta 2824 caliber. It also has a rubberized rotating bezel, which gives it a very unique look. Very easily legible, great bracelet, Breitlings are tough as nails. You know, it might not be the most sophisticated dive watch on this list, but you can do a lot worse. Especially the price. These can be had for just about $2,000 brand new. Can't really beat that. Now we go with another luxury diver. And my pick in this category is the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Diver. What can I say? You get the Royal Oak look with its octagonal case. You get an inner rotating bezel. You get an in-house AP caliber. It looks tough as nails, and definitely a watch that wouldn't look weird on like Arnold Schwarzenegger's wrist. Now, this is definitely on the higher end of this list. It's $21,000, so I don't know if anybody would actually dive with it, but it certainly looks like it can get the job done. And if you like the Royal Oak, but the chronograph's too busy, and the normal Royal Oak 15400 is too small, then the diver is your choice. I think this looks pretty awesome. At number 9, we have a watch that has one of the coolest dive watch features out there, and that is the JaegerLeCoultre Deep Sea Alarm. Now, this watch is awesome. It's definitely a reissue of a vintage piece, but it's got an alarm. Think of it this way. You know, many people use a rotating bezel to time your dive. Here, you can set a vibrating alarm, so that way, instead of looking at your rotating bezel, your watch will give a little shake when it's time to go back up. That's so freaking cool. Not to mention, I love the retro-inspired look, and it's a little bit more of a delicate look as well, which makes it more versatile. If you change the strap, this wouldn't look, you know, too far from home on a suit, for example. And JLC, which gets a lot of credit for its reverso line and its master control line, makes some very robust watches, and this is definitely nowhere near the most robust watch in their line, but they need to get more credit for their sports watches. And for that reason, I include them on my list. The JaegerLeCoultre Deep Sea Alarm. Then lastly, we go with a watch that I've spoken about quite a few times, and honestly wasn't really on my radar until I started making YouTube. But since I've handled it, I've really liked it. And that is the Auris Atlas. Available in multiple sizes, 40 and 43 millimeters, and multiple different dial options, this watch is tough as nails. Rotating bezel, fantastic bracelet and rubber strap, even though it's got those weird lugs, so you don't have too many aftermarket options. This watch will go through anything you can put it through. And I love the custom red rotor, even though the movement is pretty pedestrian at 28-24. Water resistant to 300 meters, this watch, it's just a different choice. I love the case shape, and it's not too expensive. So the Auris Atlas made my list. Anyway, guys, what do you think of my list? Is there a watch you would have included that I didn't? Leave a comment in the comment section below. And also, take a look at my description. I have my Instagram account in there, and that is Federico Talks Watches, so you guys can get some great watch content even on the days when I don't upload. Thank you so much for sticking around for another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.